Tony, I think the Killers, the alternative rock band, said it best in their song Bling. So you sling rocks at the Riptide. Hopefully, that's what the band's going to be doing. Instead of slinging rocks, they're going to be slinging lacrosse balls, and they're going to be
Yeah.
catching the twine multiple times. They're back in the KeyBank Center for tomorrow night's January 19th, 7:30 face-off as your Buffalo Bandits, who are 3-2, take on the 1-4 New York Riptide. We're back with another episode of Banditland Boulevard. Trevor Howard, Tony LaMonica, here to give you a preview of this one. Basically, it is what it is, Tony. I think the fourth seed in the standings right now, facing against an unranked team as far as the top 8 seedings go. Bandits can control what they can control, and that's defend their home turf. Just take care of business. This team is not better than you by any stretch of the imagination. They've been embarrassed by Toronto earlier this year. They've been embarrassed by other teams this year. And the Bandits have proven that they hang with those top tier teams. Even if they win or lose, they're close games no matter what. The Bandits know how to take care of themselves, and it's going to be a big one against the Riptide because over the years we've had some pretty close finishes with the Riptide. But 3-2 going up against a 1-4 team, you don't want to overlook a team, but
No.
you know the Bandits can control what they can control. They have a chance to double up their wins than they do in losses. They have a chance of go 4-2 after starting off 1-2.
Yeah, I'll have to say this though. New York is not going to make it easy for Buffalo. I'll tell you that. Regardless of record-wise and whatnot, we've always been proven yet again we cannot take any team too lightly, and especially New York Riptide, who have signed themselves a pretty good damn goal scorer, and that is Stephen Keogh. And Keogh
Yeah.
has really stepped up for New York Riptide, regardless of the records that they're in right now is the 1-4. But again, we have to make sure to watch for Keogh. Keogh has been a dagger for Buffalo ever since he's played for Halifax. And believe me, folks, he's probably licking at the chops trying to, wonder, how many goals am I going to score past Buffalo's Matt Vince? And that, again, right there, especially with how upcoming superstar Jeff Teat is doing, that is a lethal 1-2 punch right there that we got to contain. And that's another thing that this defense has got to really wake up for, is that with Stephen Keogh and Jeff Teat coming into town,
Yikes.
it's going to be difficult to try to stop. And again, the defense is going to have to really step up and protect Vince's all time.
And here's the deal. Tucker-Out Lymphoma night. Bandits are not just playing to go 4-2. They're playing for an even greater cause. They're playing for Tucker Williams. So they're going to be out in the white, orange, and green threads. The Riptide are going to have their blue, white, and green threads on. It's going to be a great game. They're playing for a great cause. I saw on Facebook a lot and on Twitter, everyone's like, if you got nothing going on Friday, support a great cause and buy a 300 level, 200 level, 100 level ticket and come watch this game. It's a big cause. Tucker-Out Lymphoma night's always huge in Banditland, and they've never disappointed on Tucker-Out Lymphoma night. And I'm not saying that to like jinx the Bandits, but I believe it was the Bandits that played the Riptide last year on Tucker-Out night, and they almost lost that game. They were down 10-8. I think Dane Smith tied it late, and Josh Byrne got the OT winner on his birthday. Hopefully it's not that close again. I know that this team can take care of business. Goaltending, Matt Vince knows how to rally back after giving up 13 goals the week before. Playing for a great cause. You got 17,000 screaming fans supporting your team. I don't see the Riptide coming into this house and beating us in this game. I really don't. The Bandits have a lot to play for. So do the Riptide, because they want to keep their playoff hopes alive. They don't want to dig themselves into a deep hole early in the season, as we're approaching a third of the way through the season already, which is crazy to even think about. Our sixth game of the season. But the Bandits have so much going for them right now. I don't see them losing.
Well, the thing is, too, is like you said, is the stretch of games that we have without any breaks. And that's what the Bandits are very, very good at. And when they're very strong, too, as well. But New York is fighting now for their lives to not even stay in the basement like Albany did last year. And they've only basically walked away with, 3 wins last year?
Oh, I think they
and
were.
That, again, New York does not want to be put a part of.
3-15.
So, again, I think coming back, you're going to see some familiar faces, too, as well. Like Brett Noseworthy, Matthew Bennett, and Kevin Brownell, who are going to be back in Banditland for the first time this year, and to see if they want to beat us at home especially how familiar they know about the whole outcome is with the Bandits formalities. But again, Tucker Williams night usually is a night for Buffalo because we not only support the Williams family itself, but also for people who go through that cancer / disease that we all don't want to see anybody go through. And the Bandits have really stepped up when they wanted to step up, especially because it hits to their hearts. They want to make the fans aware of the situation of how important it is to win that night for them.
I agree. I think I went to the first one in 2015. I'm pretty sure it was against the Vancouver Stealth at the time, and we pummeled them like 17-8, 17-9, something like that. And I believe we were actually undefeated on Tucker-Out Lymphoma nights, so that's very good. I believe we beat Calgary one year, we beat Vancouver, we beat the Riptide last year, and I think the year before that we beat Toronto, and that was the year where the Rock players didn't shake any of the Bandit players' hands and they got nachos and beer pelted at them as they left the arena. But you know what? I like this game. They always have great looking uniforms. It's a great cause. But if you want to talk about Bandits and Riptide head to head, the Bandits have never lost to the Riptide, but every game has been very, very close. That's why I'm kind of like chomping at the bit to see what's going to happen in this game. I believe in the 2022 season, we beat them 18-17 in overtime. Last year, we beat them 11-10 in overtime. Every game against these guys, it doesn't matter what their record is. It doesn't matter what our record is. Every game is close. That's why you never want to take any team lightly. But I think with everything behind the Bandits right now, coming off of a crucial win against your rival down the 90 in Rochester, going in and shit spanking your opponent in the 2023 finals in the Colorado Mammoth. If you don't think this is momentum and they're going to bring both of those wins, use both of those wins as momentum going into this week against the Riptide, I'm sorry, you're dead wrong. The Bandits have a lot to play for, a great cause, great uniforms. I don't know if the Bandits are, I think I saw Tony Fela, who's in Bandits Mafia. If he's watching this, he can correct me. I believe the Bandits are rocking the whites this week. The whites with the green trim. I haven't seen the leak. I've seen the leaks. I don't know if those are the actual jerseys, but maybe Tony can correct me on that. I believe that we're rocking the whites. So that's going to be very cool to see. We used to wear the whites at home all the time, and all of a sudden we switched doing that. I don't really know why, but it's going to be great. It's going to be a back and forth game. Very, very physical too, because if we can jump into our players to watch, you mentioned a few right there. Kevin Brunell, who's not afraid to throw a body check. Brent Noseworthy is not afraid to drop the gloves and beat the absolute piss out of you. So those are right out of the gate. You have your obvious Jeff Teets, your 2022 Rookie of the Year winner. But I'm talking about the former Bandits, because whenever you go to a game, always look at the score sheet. It's always former Bandits that do something to us, whether it's scoring, getting into a fight, or doing something. It's always former Bandits. That's what I tell everyone. So my two players to watch right out of the gate, Brunell and Noseworthy. And Matthew Bennett a little bit too. I think he was on our team maybe for a year or two. But if we're talking about most recent and long tenured Bandits, I believe it's Brunell and I almost said Bucktooth, Noseworthy that we're looking at coming up this week.
Well, like again, defensively, we're going to have to really be smart and how Keogh is a big factor to their offensive now, and with Jeff Teat as well being out there in the same time on the floor. But you got guys from Albany that used to play for, like LaFontaine, that could produce points. So again, it's going to be what you like to call a trap game, Trevor. That's going to be scary to say, but I hate to bring that up. But to me, it's going to be a trap game.
Every game is a trap game against these guys. Every single time.
It's going to come down to the last grit. Who's going to want it more? And I think I'd love to see Buffalo, pan it out like they did against Rochester. But I think New York's going to fight for a little bit more desperation than Rochester did against us. But players to watch, like you said, mentioned Kevin Brownell. He was a part of Banditland.
Yep.
He was a part of Banditland for a lot of years. So again, that's a guy to watch. But obviously, for our offense, you've got to create different things to beat these guys because they know your style. They know how to beat you. And if they lock into your system and they know how to, set that virus and deteriorate the offense of ours, that could be a problem. And New York might walk away with this win.
And you also have to look at, some also familiar. Connor Kiernan is also on that team, which
Hmm.
I completely forgot about as well. Ron John, yep, forgot about him too. Damon Edwards, remember him? Very, very
Yep.
familiar face. Used to be in the Toronto organization. And
Yes, sir.
my God, I don't even know how. You look at this roster, you look at these names, John, you look at Sundown, Teat, Thornburg, uh, you have Callum Jones, Damon Edwards. How in the world, Matthew Bennett, Kevin Brunell, how in the world is this team 1-4? They don't even look competitive in half the games that they play. But it
Right.
always seems like whenever they come to Buffalo, whenever the Bandits go down the turnpike and go to Long Island and play, it's always a trap game no matter what. Now, I don't know if
Right.
it's because there's a lot of former Bandits on that team, or if just because it used to be an Eastern Conference game, there was a lot to play for as far as head-to-head tiebreakers go. But every time we play them, it's a trap game. It's close. It comes down to the final 30 seconds. Maybe it
Yep.
comes down to 3 minutes into overtime like last year.
Hmm.
Every single time. I don't understand it. But you look at a roster like that, it's a mystery. It must be coaching. The reason why they're 1-4, they got some talent on that team. The Riptide look
They have
good.
some really good talent.
But we've given them enough grace. Okay, it's time to look at Bandits players to watch. This is Banditland Boulevard. This is a Bandits show.
Right.
Who can do some damage against that Riptide team? Tony, I'll leave it to you first. Who is your number one Bandit to watch going into the Friday night's game?
Well, speaking of number one, why don't we talk about number one? I think Tahoka Nanticoke is overdue and ready to go, and his awakening is now. And this is the game to do it, especially against New York. You want to have Tahoka, like, not only does he get like a goal or two per game, but again, I feel like he needs to step it up a little bit more, and I think he needs to get he needs to get his feet wet, even though he's getting killed in the middle of the field, especially in front of their goaltender, like getting the
He's
high
getting
stick to the
hacked.
face.
Yep.
He's getting hacked and he's getting pushed around, but yet he's still a tough guy, and he will go in there and cause penalties, and and hopefully will set up some power play chances for the Buffalo Bandits. But again, in my view, that's a player to watch for this game coming Friday tomorrow.
Fresh coming off the birthday celebration too. Hopefully
Why
he
not?
brings some of that birthday luck to him tomorrow, or birthday skill. Nothing's luck with Tehoka Nanako. He's one of the most talented players on this team.
Yes, he is.
I'm gonna go transition. Had a great week last week. 1 goal, 1 assist, and I believe he's gonna be a physical threat. He's gonna stand up for your players from guys like Noseworthy and Brunel. I'm gonna look at Nick Weiss, number 20, as a
Okay.
definitely a player to watch. Transition, you might see him in the faceoff game a little bit more with Jay Thornburg.
Mm.
He's going to lay some big body checks. When you get him in open space, a lot of the times, kind of like Matt Spanger, if he's going one-on-one with the goalie, he's scoring 95% of the time. So look out for a guy like Nick Weiss, one of the underrated players on this team. Ever since McCauley left and that one game happened against Rochester, Nick Weiss really stepped up his physical game, and I believe he's going to keep doing that against New York.
Yep, with him and the transition guys, like you said, mentioned like Ian McKay, possibly Kyle Buchanan's out there at the beginning too, right at faceoff. But again, I think the transition, like you said, Nick Weiss has really been one of those. That's the reason why he wears the A on the team. He's an assistant captain for a reason, is that he shows leadership. He shows promise. And that's a big thing for Nick Weiss to step up and be that guy. And yes, he will score once in a blue moon every now and then. But when he does, that's scary to teams, because you got to realize that if he's scoring goals, then everyone on that defense can score goals too as well. So that's good leadership out of his part. Good choice.
100%. And you got to look at someone who always bounces back after. I don't even really want to call it a rough week. He faced 64 shots, let in 13 goals. But if there's
Mhm.
anyone to rally after giving up 10 plus goals, this 48. Matt Vince is definitely a player to watch. There's a lot of talent on that team. Jeff Teat, we know a lot about the Teats because Dan Teat used to be on this team. I believe that's Jeff's uncle, I'm pretty sure. And Dan was a beast back in 2006, 2007 when he was a Buffalo Bandits player. We know that his nephew has a lot of Dan Teat's traits to him. And if there's a
Mhm.
goalie out there to stop that and slow that down, it's 48, Vino.
Yeah, Matt Vince again is going to be tested with some of the players that he knows that he has been big against. And again, this is going to be another key factor. Can I keep them under 10 goals, or can I keep them at bay long enough for my offense to do their thing and score as many goals as possible? But again, you got to realize that it also comes down to defense, blocking shots, and to protect their goaltenders at all time. Like Steve Priolo has to step up as being the leader, as he is our captain on the team, making sure that all the defenders are well aware of the situation and to protect Matt Vince as much as possible.
And we keep saying it, 92, you had 2 goals against Colorado, but you're overdue for that 4-5 sock trick kind of game. If there was a time to really, I think, well, look at the Riptide's record. Look at their goals, 4 goals against differential. That team's already bleeding. If Dane Smith has the opportunity to take that wound and put a little bit more salt in it, make it bleed some more, I guess. Because when you have Dane Smith, when you have a wounded team that's limping into this game, like the New York Riptide,
excuse me,
your players like Fraser, but Dane Smith especially, they had the chance to absolutely explode on the scene and really take advantage of a crappy situation that New York is going through right now. Dane Smith, bro, 92. You are overdue for your 4-goal, 5-goal nights. I mean, you can always give us a silent 8-point game where you get 1 goal, 7 assists. We always see that. And you always check the stats the next day. Oh, my God, 92 had 9 assists last night. Like, how did I miss that? We need the goal-scoring Dane back. There is no other team that you can take advantage of. This team is bleeding from the mouth. Punch them. Give them the TKO punch. Dane, you have all the power to do that. Score.
Yeah, we'd love to have Dane Smith go score that 3-goal, 4-goal nights per night again, like he used to. But again, he relies on his guys. He relies on Josh Byrne to do the work. He relies on Chris Kluche to do the work. If he's the only one that can assist, and he averages what now, Trevor? Let's be honest. He gets about a good dozen per game shots on goal.
God.
At least.
Well, you look at Josh, who's always getting 17 shots a night. Dane's probably piling on 13, 14, I want to say, but he's always getting you 6, 7, 8, 9 assists.
I know. That's huge, and that's what you need out of somebody who cannot – if they can't produce goals, they can always get the assists and be the playmaker. And, again, I'm not disappointed of his game style.
No, I mean, he's going to be the future captain. He's going to be the future captain.
You're going to love to see Dane Smith score 2-3 goals per game. Like I said before, if he does score 2-3 goals per game, your team's winning it regardless, no matter what it is. But, again, with the surprise that winning against Rochester this past week and going 15-13 without him scoring, what does that tell you? Our offense is pretty scary without him scoring any goals.
His silent 7-point nights, he gets 7 assists on that. I'm like, yeah, I'm not really surprised. Not really surprised at all. But he's showing traits that, like, I don't have to score all these goals. I can count on my other guys to do it for me, and that's what captains usually do. They're usually the two-way forward that are playmakers that set it up for the other talent on the team. But Dane, New York, like, there is blood in the water. Dane Smith has the chance to give them the TKO punch, give them the coup de grace, and really show us the 2023 Dane Smith the train has not left the station yet, and he could always come back and start piling it on. Because that Colorado game, you saw flashes of last year, Dane Smith, where he scored the nice goals, like the bounce shots, the over the shoulder. We got a little taste of that. That was a little appetizer. This week against the Riptide, he has a chance to give us the full entree to show us what he can really do. Bring back that 2023 Dane Smith swagger.
That'd be great. 10-point, 12-point night like he usually does with his goals and his assists. That's going to be dangerous for this offense to go, you know what? If you're going to want to beat us, you're going to have to literally beat us to win these games. And that's how good these guys are.
And look at those are the players to watch. If you want to jump into keys to the game, look at who they have on that other side. Don't let them bait you and take a penalty. Because even though your special teams is good, penalty kill and power play, I'm sorry, but when you got Jeff Teat on that power play, nothing good can come from that as far as the Bandits are concerned. Stay out of the box, as cliche as it sounds, because, you got some guys on that team that are going to poke at you. Stephen Kehoe is a big guy that will punch you and then run away. He's one of those rat type of player. He's going to punch you in the back of the head and then run to the bench and then hide behind his guys. Don't retaliate to that. Beat him on the scoreboard. Brent Noseworthy's he's probably one of the most physical guys I've seen in this league in a long, long time. Don't let him make you mad and take a penalty. Because, we have physical guys on this team that are going to stick up for one another, and I have no problem with that. Emerson Clark, Nick Weiss, Ian McKay, Chase Fraser, they're going to step up for their fallen guys. Just, if they're going to take a penalty, take the power play. You don't need to go to the box and set up a 4-on-4 situation. Just special teams is huge. And if you can stay out of the box, you're winning this game. Special teams is key.
I was trying not to make a laugh or comment on what you were saying about Brett Noseworthy, because I would not. Honestly, Emerson Clark versus Noseworthy,
he would get the snot beat out of him.
Look up on your punches, because this is not going to work out for you at all.
But if we could see Chase Fraser versus Brent Noseworthy, I think that would be UFC Fight Night of the Week right there.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll happen. Well, we'll see. I mean, I don't know if that's going to be the case, but again, you're going to have to just outplay. I mean, there's ways of beating the defense of Noseworthy and Brownell, because Brownell, I've noticed in the last few seasons when he was a part of the Bandit squad, he was starting to become like that Mitch DeSnoo flat-footed defenseman that you could always surpass and beat him. Yep. But again, it might be because of age. It might be because of, learning a new style of lacrosse, especially now going from JT to who they got now. I have no idea who their coach is.
Across, Jason Crosby, former Bandit, is their coach. So.
Oh, okay.
Jason Crosby.
I'd have to say keep doing what you guys are doing. Your offense is clicking, because if obviously you've averaged, let's see, you've had double digits the last 4 games now, I believe, Trevor?
Yep.
So something's not wrong with the offense. Defensively, though, you had a breakdown. You allowed 13, so now you buckle down. You get back into that groove where you allow nearly 10. So, again, where Matt Vince has got to tell you guys where to be and placement of, letting them see the shots and all. But, again, like you said, stay out of the box, because that's the only way that I think New York is going to beat you is on the power play.
Yeah, 4 out of 5 games, the Bandits have scored 10 plus goals. The one game that they didn't was against Georgia, and we lost that game 9-8. But
I do have a question, though, Trevor.
Yeah.
For you. Who is their goaltender? Because they got 4 just like we do.
You know what? I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they've been shuffling in and out goalies each week. They had one guy against Toronto. I believe it was I think it was Dunkerley, and then I think Orleman. I don't know I think it was 86 Dunkerley, and then I think they yanked him and put Johnson in, and then they've been swapping out starters like it's going out of style. So we're either probably going to see Dunkerley or Johnson. I would probably think Dunkerley's going to start, but if the Bandits are really hammering goals in the net, we might see 2 or 3 different goalies tomorrow night.
Do you think Kevin Orleman is still their number 1 guy, or is he hurt, or do we know about that, or what?
They said that he doesn't even have a jersey number on his player profile on his page. So I don't know if he's injured or if he's on the protected list. But Kevin Orleman, if he's got any ties with Steve, which I bet you he probably does, 2 goalies in the National Lacrosse League that share the same last name. I'm not sure what's going on with him. I don't know if he's a prospect or if he's on the protected player list. But similar to that of his relative, he's not seeing any playing time this year either.
I really thought that was the case. Like, we don't know who is exactly their goaltender.
It's something that the Bandits can exploit, though. I mean, they don't even know who their goalie is. The Bandits can really exploit that going into this week. I think that's a good problem to have if you're the Bandits. If you're the Riptide, you're probably shaking in your boots a little bit.
A little bit, but we'll see. Again, you can't take anybody like any team. You can't underrate them unless you find out how they play and what they can do. But again,
look at our stats against the Riptide. They're not the prettiest. I'm telling you.
No,
they're not the prettiest. Every game is like 1 to 2 goal. Every game that we've won is like 1 to 2 goal differential, and one of them was in over. 2 of them were in overtime. One of them in the Long Island Sound, and the other one was last year at the KeyBank Center.
That's right. So again, just play. That's all you can do. Play and outbeat your opponent. That's all you can do. Just beat them in the scoreboard. Don't beat them in the box, because if you are in the box, that could be a problem.
And I'm sorry, but you're not beating them in the face-off circle, so that's not even a key to watch. Jay Thornburg going up against Ian McKay. Yeah. I'm sorry, I don't have any faith in how that's going to be any beneficial for us. I don't think it's going to be.
So face-offs are going to be a problem, again, unless they bring Adler back. If they bring Adler back, I can say it's a 50-50 shot.
Well, it brings up another key to the game. If you're not going to win face-offs, get every loose ball. every loose ball, jump on it.
Yeah. Make it happen. You got to win those battles. That's the key thing. You have
You're
to
in the
win those
corner.
loose ball battles, especially in their territory. You don't want them. You want to make sure to get this goaltender and this defense out there as much as possible where they'll tire and they want to get off the floor so the offense can do the job. But again, so they can catch their breath, because if the more you keep them on there, it'll make sure that it'll be tiring them out. And they're like, I can't do this. The stamina's not working. They're just consistently in our zone, taking shot after shot after shot and getting loose ball. That's something we need to pressure this team. If that's the only way we can beat them, is we got to beat them in the small game district. Is loose balls on every shot and make sure to get as many chances as possible and really scare this goaltender to get either changed or out of town.
And no conservative gameplay. No conservative gameplay. Jump on every loose ball. No raking. Yep. Scoop with two hands. Because the last home game, the Bandits had a 9-2 lead with a 5-minute power play in the third quarter. We won that game by 4 goals. So if you take your foot off the gas, that's what's going to happen. Like, I didn't think Colorado was going to come back and win that game, but I was like, damn, this is like scaring me a little bit. Like, if there were a team, it would definitely be the Mammoth that would come back and win this game.
Yeah, they don't quit.
The team like the New York Riptide, while they don't have great and excellent stats on the season, over the years, they play their best lacrosse against the Buffalo Bandits. So if you take your foot off the gas, Jeff Teet's going to jump on you. Jay Thornberg's going to jump on you. Steven Keogh's going to jump on you. Kevin Burnell's going to lay out somebody in front of the net. I mean, let's be real. He used to do it all the time. You can't do that. I mean, you have to play your game. Johnny T's going to draw up a great game plan like he usually does, script a great first quarter, which he usually does. It's about not coasting to the finish line. It's about putting your head down, running through the finish line.
That's it. That's all you can do. And guys, like I said, offense has got to keep doing what they're doing. Dane, we want to see 3 goals or better this game.
We hope so. Yep.
Defensively, protect Vince better. And again, get to those loose balls, because that's going to be the big battle. If you can't win faceoffs, that's going to be your main focus, is winning them loose ball battles. But I think we should go to our score predictions here. So speaking of which, I'm thinking, they can score goals. They got 52 on the year, but they've given up a lot.
They got 16, 17, maybe 18,000 fans joining the building tomorrow night for a great cause like Tucker-Out Night.
Be careful, too, as well, Buffalo, too. I know we're getting hit with this snowstorm as well.
Was it
so
round
if you
3
do
of
attend
this?
the game, please drive carefully and be safe. That's the most important thing. But let's get back to the score predictions. I'm going to say Bandits squeak by 14-12 in regulation.
I like it. 14-12, pretty solid. Who do you think breaks out in that game as far as the score sheet goes?
Like I mentioned before earlier, I'm going to stick with Tehoka. I think he's going to get 2 or 3 goals.
Okay, that sounds good. I got mine close, believe it or not. Low scoring, though. I think it's going to be a goalie battle. Buffalo wins this game 10-8.
Oof, that could be possible, too.
I think Matt Vince is going to rally back. You saw he gave up 13. He's like, I'm not giving up more than 10 against the New York Riptide. Hold them to 8. But I do see the Bandits having good quarters, and I can see them having sloppy quarters. Like maybe they jump out on the scene to have a good first quarter, second and third. The Riptide defense is kind of holding them down. I think they rip it open in the fourth, and they win this game 10-8.
And who would your go-to Bandit be for that game?
Great Dane with 4. And he's long overdue, 92. And I think Tehoka is going to be a goal scorer in that game as well. And you can't not discuss Josh Byrne, Chris Kluche, Chase Fraser. Even if they're not scoring, they're going to set up, opportunities on the power play, assists opportunities as well. So 10-8 is my score prediction. Guys, it's going to be tough. It's going to be one of those nail-biting games. But if you're in 106 or 119, say hey to us because, we're always making funny comments. And I'm right behind the bench. I'm right behind the Riptide bench. So if you want to hear some funny, creative chirps, come to 106 and go up to row 12 where I'm sitting. So, yeah, me and my friend Brent are going to the game. What's that?
I really hope I can make it too, because right now my driveway is completely covered in snow. It's up 3 feet, 4 feet high. It sucks because of the plows guys coming by, and I hope to get by and I hope to get to the game. But if I can't,
we are in round 3 of this snowstorm crap. The only place where I want it to snow is Ellicottville because that's where I ride my snowboard. If it's up here in Grand Island, I'm sick of seeing this shit outside my window. I really am. Downtown Buffalo, drivers in Buffalo are stupid as it is. The fact that I got
Mm,
to go behind them in a snowstorm, I have zero patience when I'm behind the wheel. So, and even with that, it's like, oh my God. So just, you know what? Take your time. If you see someone driving an SUV that looks like me in the left lane and you're only going 45 miles per hour, get the hell out of my way because I'm trying to go to the Bandits game. And if you're going to drive slow, go on the right side and have your hazards on. It's really not that hard, guys. It's really not
that's
hard.
it.
But Tony, hopefully you can make it to the game. Invest in a snow blower or something.
That's the future needs. I mean, maybe not this year, but next year for sure. That's
And
all.
that's I was pissed off last week. I couldn't go to the game. I spent money on tickets, didn't even go.
I
Like
couldn't
this
make it either. I was
sucks.
upset. I had my tickets too.
But I bet you not. Believe you me, I am not missing two Bandit games in a row. Nope, not
No.
happening. And one of them being a home game, absolutely not happening. No way.
Yeah, can't do it. We'll see. We'll see if I can get out or not. But
But I
hopefully,
got I mean, I do have a snowblower, but
yeah, but you're way up north.
it's about getting out of my own driveway to give it to you too. So that's
that
tough.
would be that would be helpful. But right
Uh,
now, I like hopefully our neighbors would be great to like dig us out a little bit so we can
Problems in
not only
Western
get
New
back to
York.
work so I can make some money, but also to go to places where I need to go to get like supplies and that. So we got things, food and whatever in the house. So
Can you
again,
imagine like Panther City fans or like Georgia fans watching this? Like, what the hell are these guys talking about? Snow? What is
yeah,
that? Yeah, I'm like,
yeah.
well, yeah, this probably sounds like we're speaking a different language, but that is the reality of it all when we're when you're up here in Western New York. Whether
This
it's
is our tornado
November or snow
hurricane, guys.
January, it snows from November to literally April. We have like 5 months of winter every single year, so it's kind of weird. But I
Tough.
got 10-8 as my score prediction over the Tide. You got
14-12 on this
14-12
point.
over the Tide. I don't see the Bandits losing this game. You don't see the Bandits losing this game. And hopefully 16,000 plus Bandit fans don't see the Bandits losing this game at all. But Tony, with about 6 minutes to go on this Zoom call, let's hit him with the sponsor.
Guys, we'd like to thank Mitchell's Tavern, located at 734 Tonawanda, Sheridan Drive in Tonawanda, New York, for the best beef and wick in town and also amazing service. Like my friends Lisa Fideli and Nick, the owner. We'd like to thank those guys for allowing us to mention you on our podcast of Banditland Boulevard. We'd like to have all of those who will do watch and listen to mention us, Trevor over there, and myself, Tony, to say, hey, we'd like to try Mitchell's Tavern and see what you guys are all about. So go give it a try, guys. They're really good on food and service. Believe me, you're not going to be disappointed. Also, we'd like to thank those who are watching us on YouTube. Please give us that like and subscribe. Also, hit that notification bell every time we pop on board to listen on Buffalo Bandits Lacrosse Needs. And also for those listening in on every device possible known to man, I can name them, but it's too long of a list to name. So I'm going to say for Spotify.fm and Anchor, we'd like to thank those who do listen, give us that 5-star rating, and to chime in every once in a while. If you guys have your questions or you'd like to be on the show, please call or text us anytime you guys wish, besides the times that we're sleeping. So
I'll
if
just
you
wake
want to
up
be a
to a
part of the
notification.
show,
That's
we'd
fine.
love to hear you on there. So please
Yeah.
come on board.
Yeah. You can text me while I'm sleeping. I'll just wake up to a notification and be like, oh, cool. Somebody wants to be on the show. Sweet. I
That's
don't really care.
correct.
Yeah, that's awesome. But Bandits Riptide, Tucker-Out night. It's going to be big. I'll be in 106. Tony will be in 119 with all the box heads. Ghostface will be there. Brent, if you're watching this, me and my buddy Brent from Fredonia, we're going to this game together. So, if you want to, if you want to see Ghostface and Brent, we are going to be chirping them, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be so fun because I knew last time when we were chirping them, I know those Colorado players could hear me. I was yelling so many obscenities to them. They were looking up like, what is going on? Yeah,
Yes,
it's
sir.
not going to be as severe because, Mammoth are here on my hate list, and the Riptide are about like nowhere to be found. Like, I don't really care. Yeah. It's Colorado, Toronto, Rochester for me, and Riptide are kind of just there. Like, I don't really care. They exist. They're not on my hate list at all. They just kind of exist. I hate that they play us extremely well, that they play their best lacrosse
Yeah.
against us. That's about the only thing. Signing off from Banditland Boulevard, Trevor Howard, Tony LaMonica, aka Boxhead 90 ATL. We're going to win this game. It's a great cause. If you don't have tickets, what the hell are you doing? Buy them. This is supporting Sean Williams and Sean Williams' family. This is supporting Tucker Williams, anyone that's suffering from lymphoma and any sort of cancer, especially in sports as well. Great cause. I'm a huge Sean Williams fan. I think a lot of you guys are too. Go out and support him and his family, and go out and watch the best team. I mean, well, the Bills beating the Steelers, but the best team in Buffalo over the years has been consistently the indoor lacrosse team. So support your local heroes and support your local athletes. Go to a Bandits game. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, please do. And we only have 3 words to say that for you, Trevor. And then what is that?
3 words. Want to go? Let's go. Let's go Bandits. Let's go.
And for a reason.
And it's up there for a reason, too. Those colors don't rhyme. You're never taking that down. Riptide, you have to prove that you can win one of those if you want to beat us. That's all I got to say. Signing off from Banditland Boulevard. Let's go Bandits. Let's go.